Nepal police have swung into action with the arrest of a series of high-profile individuals allegedly connected with the Bhutanese refugee scam. The arrested individuals have admitted of collecting between 1 to 5 million rupees per person from many Nepalese by promising them safe passage to the US as Bhutanese refugees. The arrest made so far could just prove to be the proverbial tip of the iceberg, as the scam is likely to drag more high-profile government officials into the case. Good evening, I'm Amar Singh Pradhan and these are the headlines of the hour. Nepal police intensifies search for former Minister Top Bahadur Ramaji, allegedly connected with the Bhutanese refugee scam. His son Sandip Ramaji slapped 3-day judicial custody for investigation. The travel along the national highway deemed risky due to dilapidated condition of bridges. Condition of 600 bridges reported perilous. The first session of the second term of provincial assemblies term lackluster. Formation of laws and committees remain incomplete. And Machindra FC stake claim for the domestic top flight title, chalking out a convincing win against Sankata. Shockwaves are rippling in the political fraternity after former minister, leaders and high-ranking government officials have been alleged of involvement in the fake Bhutanese refugee scam. CPNUML chairperson KP Sharma Oli has met with Prime Minister Pushpakamal Dahal and expressed his dissatisfaction after police pursued the arrest of UML secretary and former minister Top Bahadur Ramaji. Leader Oli had reached the office of the Prime Minister and the Council of Ministers to discuss the issue of Ramaji with Prime Minister Dahal. Speaking after his parley with the Prime Minister, Oli said that actions must be taken against those involved, while those not guilty should not be dragged into controversy. Oli added that a sitting member of the House of Representatives who had been appointed a minister on several occasions in the past did not have to be arrested like any other criminal. Maintaining that allegation against Ramaji was a conspiracy, Oli also drew the Prime Minister's attention in this regard. Ramaji, who has been alleged of involvement in the scam, had attended a program in his home district, Arghakhanchi, and was said to have left for Kathmandu yesterday itself. However, his whereabouts are still uncertain. Police have arrested his son Sandip Ramaji from Butwal, brought him to Kathmandu and has been allowed to hold him in judicial custody for 3 days for required investigations. A total of 8 individuals have been arrested so far in relation to the scam, while police have said that it is investigating 10 other suspects. According to police, 20 complaints have been filed for charging between 1 to 5 million rupees to send people to the US in the guise of fake Bhutanese refugees. Indrajit Rai, the advisor to former Minister for Home Affairs Ram Bahadur Thapa and Secretary at the Office of the Vice President Teknaran Pandey have already been arrested. The police is reportedly investigating a few more government officials and political leaders. Travel through Nepal's highways where accidents occur on a daily basis pose significant peril with the advent of monsoon rains. Passengers are spending hours on the road because of obstructions caused by floods and landslides along the caving of roads, and bridges are a routine story connected with monsoon. More than 600 bridges along the east-west highway constructed 5 decades ago are in a dilapidated condition and have added further challenges. Meanwhile, the Department of Roads has been shying away from its responsibilities in the pretext of inadequate budget. Operation of the Prithvi Highway halted for almost 12 hours after a breeze over the Ganesh River in Dhunibesi Municipality, Ward number 6 of Dhading caved in on Tuesday. All units of the Department of Roads faced a massive challenge to resume operation of the road section after the foundation of the under-construction bridge caved in. Such obstructions at major highways during the monsoon season put around 1 million passengers at risk. According to the department, 2,000 bridges are in operation across the country, while 800 are under construction. Incessant rainfall has been witnessed across the country in the past few days. The Department of Hydrology and Meteorology has forecast reduced rainfall this monsoon in relative comparison to recent years. However, the department has said that risk of water-induced disasters remain the same and has also urged the general public to remain alert. The Department of Hydrology and Meteorology has expected lower than average rainfall during the period of 4 months of monsoon between 1st of June and September 30th. The Met Division has said that most parts of Karnali and Gandaki provinces, northern region of Sudur Paschim, western and central Lumbini and southern parts of Kosi province are likely to witness reduced rainfall. However, normal rainfall is expected in the southern and eastern region of Bagmati and Madhya provinces. Massive losses of lives and properties are caused by water-induced disasters including floods, landslides and inundation during monsoon in Nepal. With projection of similar losses this year as well, experts have called for preventive measures at the earliest. Meanwhile, the National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Authority has begun formulating regulations for risk reduction. Many people in the country lose their lives every year due to natural disasters. The 3 tiers of the government give attention to the issue and the identification of risk-prone areas only after it is hit by natural disasters. Millions of rupees is allocated for the Disaster Risk Reduction Fund. However, residents of Dolakha have been paying the price with their lives amid delay in efforts for disaster risk reduction by all 3 tiers of the government. Many residents of Dolakha had been affected by flood and landslides last year. 7 individuals lost their lives while 250 had been displaced. Majority of them have yet to obtain a permanent shelter. The 3 tiers of government allocates millions of rupees in the Disaster Risk Reduction Fund to rescue and provide shelter to those affected. The government, however, has overlooked disaster risk reduction. Early warning systems are out of use in many places. The 3 tiers of the government, meanwhile, have yet to hold discussions regarding safety of the citizens during natural disasters. Human activities in recent times have increased natural disasters. Construction of infrastructure such as roads increases the risk of natural disasters at local level. Several residents of Dolakha had been displaced in previous years due to construction of roads. Plans of constructing roads after assessing risk of disasters have yet to be made. The plans for disaster risk reduction has been limited to papers, while the rural roads constructed for the local residents have wiped out the entire villages in several places. The 3 tiers of the government have been active in distributing relief instead of timely identifying the risk. This has increased the trend of people losing their lives and being displaced due to the disasters in Dolakha every year. And in our Public Voice segment, we have asked in several provinces regarding precautions that need to be adopted for reduction of risk caused by natural disasters like flood and landslides. Let's take a look at what they have to say.
Public Voice.
खोलामा बाँधको तटबन्धनको लागि आगामी व्यवस्था गर्नु पर्यो।
त्यहाँ डुबान आउँछ यो महिनामा उहाँहरुलाई अगाडि नै सावधानी अपनाउनु पर्यो।
तटबन्ध लगाउनु पर्यो र पेछाब र पानीहरु रोप्नु पर्यो।
खोलाको छेउछाउमा अब तारबार गर्ने
बुझे छ नि सर, यसलाई चाहिँ रोक्ने काम गर्नुपर्छ।
सरकारले हामीलाई हेर्दिए भए तारजाली लगाइदिए भए खोलो सेभ गरिदिए भए त्यही राम्रो हुन्थ्यो।
चुरे क्षेत्रबाट भइरहने अवैध रूपमा ढुङ्गा गिट्टी बालुवाहरुको चोरी निकासीलाई नियन्त्रण गर्नु पर्यो।
तटबन्ध ढल निकास जस्ता विषयहरुमा बजेटको उचित व्यवस्थापन गरी
विकास निर्माणको काम गर्दाखेरि पनि अलि ध्यान दिनुपर्ने देखिन्छ।
After the conclusion of the first session, provincial assemblies have begun preparations for the budget session. While the winter session of 3 provincial assemblies have already concluded, 4 others are in preparation to end the winter session in the next few days. Despite completing the first session of the second term, provincial assemblies have failed in formulating laws and forming thematic committees. Engaged in managing power equations, all province assemblies have been proceeding at a snail's pace since the very beginning. Gandaki Province Assembly extended the vote of confidence to its second chief minister from the first session. Lumbini Province Assembly also concluded its first session after extending the trust vote to its second chief minister. The main task of the session that ran for a period of 4 months appeared nothing other than extending vote of confidence to the chief ministers. They could not even form thematic committees. Despite registration of 3 bills, they did not get endorsed as laws. Gandaki Province Assembly also failed to perform tasks other than replacing 2 ordinances and did not even form the regulations for operation of assemblies, while its thematic committees remain uncertain. Bagmati Province shares a similar story as it twice extended the trust vote to the Chief Minister and is yet to form thematic committees. In Karnali, the Provincial Assembly extended the vote of confidence in 3 occasions. Meanwhile, the session of Kosi Provincial Assembly had ended before the mid of April. Except for naming the province, the Provincial Assembly did not accomplish any other tasks with zero progress regarding formation of thematic committees and formulation of laws. In the far west of the country, 2 chief ministers were appointed in the Sudur Paschim province, while the Provincial Assembly has not endorsed any bills and the government is yet to gain a full status. Citing the failure of most province assemblies in performing basic tasks, federalism experts have said that there is no certainty regarding the efficient performance of the province assemblies in the days ahead as well. The failure of the province assemblies in performing tasks with positive impact on the public has raised questions regarding their efficiency. And now time for our segment Public Pulse, where it texts us with their opinion.
Public Pulse.
And before we give you today's question, let's take a look at a response to yesterday's question. And yesterday we had asked you, what do you term the preparation to ease the examination system of grade 12? 45% voted for option A, timely and appropriate step. 31% voted for option B, to stop exodus of students. And 24% voted for option C, relief for students. And time for today's question. And the question is, why have provincial assemblies not been effective? Your options are option A, impact of regular change in government, option B, no business from the government, and option C, imitating the federal parliament. The voting is on. Type any WS, select your option A, B or C and send it to 34001 to share opinion with us. And time for international update. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has said that Russian President Vladimir Putin must be brought to justice for his war in Ukraine. Speaking at The Hague, the Ukrainian president called for the creation of a war crimes tribunal separate to the International Criminal Court. The ICC, which is based in The Hague and which Zelensky visited earlier in the day, issued an arrest warrant for Putin for suspected deportation of children from Ukraine. But it does not have jurisdiction over alleged crimes of aggression, and the European Commission, among others, has already brought its support for the creation of a separate international center for the prosecution of the crime of aggression in Ukraine that would be set up in The Hague. Major legal and practical questions remain around how such a court would be legitimized, either by a group of countries supporting it or with approval from the UN General Assembly. Russia is not a member of the ICC and already rejects its jurisdiction. It denies committing atrocities during its conflict with Ukraine, which it terms a special operation to demilitarize its neighbor. Earlier in the day, in his first official visit to the Netherlands, Zelensky visited the ICC for just under an hour, while he also met Dutch Prime Minister Mark Rutte. And we have more news coming up, but right now it's time for another short break.
Sports News.
Defending champions Machindra FC have secured a 3-1 win over Sankata at the Martyrs Memorial A-Division League, climbing to the top of the points table. In the match played at the Dasarath Stadium in Tripureshwar, Machindra created pressure from the early stage of the match as Devendra Thamang put Machindra ahead in the 4th minute. Afiz Olawale doubled Machindra's lead in the 69th minute. Junior Ekunge reduced the deficit for Sankata in the 70th minute. However, Bimal Gartimagar reinstated the 2-goal cushion for Machindra a minute before the regulation full-time as the match ended 3-1 win for defending champions. With the win, Machindra have 21 points from 14 matches. They have suffered just a single defeat in the past 5 matches. Meanwhile, Sankata have 16 points and are placed 11th. It was their 4th defeat in the past 5 matches. In another A-Division match played earlier today, Armed Police Force played a 1-1 draw against NRT. And up next is weather update. And that's all for the moment. Up next is News in Nepali. Good night.